Hey everyone, it's Types, and today I want to talk about some super cool deck lists. I was just browsing Limitless, looking for some decks, and there are some pretty cool ones. Honestly, decks like Urshifu and Talion I think are pretty cool. And the meta as a whole is pretty neat right now. It's a pretty diverse, and the decks are all new as well, even if the meta is not actually that diverse. But there are some really crazy decks, and I actually made a video like this a little while ago where I showcased some new decks, but that was before Scarlet and Violet. So, yeah, these are all decks. Actually, I don't know if they all play new cards. They probably all play Nest Ball and stuff like that, but they're not necessarily based around new cards. But I think I just wanted to like look at some new decks because there's some really cool ideas. This is on Limitless or Play Limitless, I suppose. So you can dig around and hopefully find some lists there that you're interested in. But I have 8 lists I want to show off today, and I think they're all really cool. This first list here and there are various takes on each of these lists as well. This one here is a Ho-Oh-V deck. A Ho-Oh-V is really interesting. Its ability allows you, I think if it's in the discard pile, to put it onto your bench and then accelerate energy to it, and then your turn ends. But the idea here is that you get lots of different types of energy attached, and does more damage for each type of energy attached. And so we have, I believe, one of each type, or at least one of each type of energy. Yeah, we have all 8 types of energy right now. There are 10 types of Pokemon, but there are only 8 types of energy, so you run those, you can't run Fairy Energy. This allows you to hit massive amounts of damage with Ho-Oh-V. It's a bit awkward to power up, in my opinion, and I think many people's opinion. This deck obviously doesn't see much play. But we do see disruption elements as well in Diancie and Klefki. And then, interestingly, we see Kamado. Yeah, it's like a... You discard most of your hand, so yeah, we have like discard synergy cards, also Zinnias, and then of course for research as well, for discard synergy for Ultra Ball as well. And then we also see some various other attackers, 2 Drapion, which surprises me a bunch, but apparently it's worth it. And then also an Entei and a Zapdos. The Entei is kind of interesting here. I think the idea is that you have lots of HP, so you can just make it work. Honestly, this deck looks just really fun. I've seen this one floating around as well with Sky Seal Stone, which is so powerful. I'd highly recommend you play. I mean, 4 Seal Stone's very good as well. In fact, I might say 4 Seal Stone's better, but I don't know. Sky Seal Stone's so strong. I really like it here. I think I've seen a list with 4 Seal Stone, with multiple 4 Seal Stones, because it's like so inconsistent. Obviously, there's so many cards in this deck. But yeah, just like a variety of stuff. We see a 2/2 Curlia. And then like capturing armors as well for search. And then the gloves, which is kind of funny. Rubber gloves doing more damage to lightning Pokemon, cleansing to psychic. I think the idea is that you hit. I'm not sure that. Oh yeah, cleansing gloves must be for Gardevoir, but also it's really interesting because now that Choice Belt like doesn't hit all the. So Choice Belt, no, Choice Belt doesn't hit all the various types of Pokemon for extra damage, notably EXs. Cleansing Gloves is very powerful against Gardevoir because they can go into the Gardevoir EX or the Mewtwo V Union or their Zacian V, and you're doing extra damage to all of them. Same idea with the Rubber Gloves, where if you're against Regieleki VMAX, you can hit all of them. Although, honestly, I don't think that matchup's too bad with the Zapdos. But then they do hit Ho-Oh for weakness, so there are different ideas there. But yeah, this deck just really cool. Also, Penny, kind of fun that you can like equip Pokemon. I don't know. This is probably the weakest of the lists I'm going to look at, but it's still a really fun list, and if you want to check it out, you can check it out. I said the decks are all in Limitless. It might be hard to find, but you can just copy the list off here as well by hand. Next up, we have actually a Lost Zone deck with Urshifu, which is really interesting. We see Rapstrike Urshifu VMAX. Only one V, but multiple VMAXs because you can search the V pretty easily. You'll see Mawile to trap stuff in the active, which is kind of a fun idea. Not necessarily fun for your opponent. It might be a lot of waiting, but it's a powerful idea. Although only one boss means it's kind of sketchy in my opinion. No pal pads, so I don't know how I feel about the Mawile on this list in particular, but the idea of it's very strong. And also you can hit more damage, and it's a little bit of disruption, even if you want to go in with a more aggressive playstyle. And then you also obviously have the good old Cramorant Sableye. We see Medicham V, a really interesting, powerful combo here. Obviously, it works well with Urshifu, and it works well with Sableye. And you can attack with Radiant Greninja, but allows you to punish your opponent's board by taking an extra turn, which is so strong. And everything else here is pretty normal Lost Zone, but it is really Raikou V, so that's not always played. Honestly, I just thought that the idea of Rapstrike Urshifu with Lost Zone is really cool. Some really interesting cards. It's a awesome deck with some interesting text. I really enjoy decks like this. I'm in the future gonna make some awesome videos like that. I think we'll see. But I like obviously interesting decks like this, and I know you guys all do as well because interesting decks are just interesting. And next we have a bit of a toxic deck. Actually a pretty toxic deck, but it's like a Pseudo-Control. It's item lock. It's Bayonet EX, a deck that I think is actually pretty solid. Bayonet EX is an item lock Pokemon. You can also play one of the other Bayonet, which allows you to recover a supporter in a Lost Zone Bayonet, but it's still a very solid card. And then Clef Key to ability lock. We see Dactyl V-Star to turn off other abilities, and we also see Shower Calyrex V to move special energy or stop your opponent from playing special energy. Now, I would actually like to see a copy of a card. Oh no, we do see Crushing Hammers, which are obviously annoying but powerful as well. Emergency Jelly is pretty interesting here. Path, obviously a very strong card. We just see the Crushing Hammers are like something that honestly we don't see too much. You can recover this with Arven as well. And then Echoing Horns to trap stuff. This deck's just very strong, obviously. With Poltergeist also hits very hard. But like the item lock's so good. I would actually like to see Defiance banned in this style list. I don't know. Obviously, it's not running it, but I think this deck's very solid, and I think Bayonet EX will be one of the best decks in the game at some point. Possibly with the next set coming. I'm not quite sure, but I think the deck's really cool. Obviously, it's kind of toxic to play against, but it's very cool and strong. And next up, we have actually another Pseudo-Control deck. I've actually seen Spite Ops EX paired with Bayonet EX, which seems really cool and powerful at least. Spite Ops EX here, it does more damage for each retreat cost, so your opponent's active. But then we also see Leafeon VMAX as like a very powerful attacker. I'm surprised we see that Leafeon V. I think the other one accelerates energy, which seems better. And we also see the Radiant Charizard Fire Energy combo, as whoever's playing this just thinks it's very strong. I mean, it's powerful. Also, 3 cross switches. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The idea is obviously that you just play one cross switcher, or 2 cross switchers, 1 gust. That's like good. The third one you're just gonna get rid of at some point, which is fair. And then we see Muse to search them out as well. With the Muse, I might like. I was gonna say Beach Club, but Beach Club's really bad. So Leafeon VMAX has more damage for each energy and their retreat cost. Also, this other Tarantula, I'm not sure how I feel about that either, because obviously then you're more vulnerable to spread. It just has less HP. It does have a cheaper retreat cost, but I don't know. There actually are some interesting uses of it with, I believe, Spirit Mask, which is kind of cool, but I don't think that's the idea here. But then we also see that it runs like Drapion, Luminion, pretty normal stuff, but Leafeon can just hit such high numbers, especially like if you're literally on some UV max, which you'd be doing no damage. With Grass Knot, you can have 4 Spite Ops in play, and all of a sudden you're hitting 240 damage, which is insane when your attack would normally do 0. You buffed it an extra 240. Really, you're trying to hit like that 240 damage against most Pokemon, going for solid hits, 2 shots, 1 shots if you can get it as well, and we see Disruption with Judge. And also high counts of boss orders, meaning that if your opponent goes and is a bit too bold, you can gust and trap something inactive, and that'll obviously just be bad for them. Next up, we have another control list, like a pure control list this time. This is really interesting with Corviknight VMAX, allowing you to switch between them, and also honestly, I'm not exactly sure. I would originally say like healing. You can still heal with Cheryl. It's free retreat. It's immune to, I think, abilities, and it's just a very powerful card with high HP, good typing. Not the best typing, but pretty good. And we also see Pidgeot V to be infinite and have more healing. We see, I guess Corviknight's a better version of, I guess, Togekiss VMAX. It might be the only, I was going to say it's the only free retreat VMAX. I don't think that's true. Regieleki's free retreat VMAX, but has less HP, worse weakness, so the idea is that you can just tank hits. Evolve to remove energy, which is very strong. Mawile to trap stuff. Shaman here actually really interesting. It's attack that's first of all, it has like a hit and run style attack, which seems very risky, but then we also see Return to draw lots of cards, in addition to a Rotom V. And then really interestingly, we also see Leafy Camo Poncho, stopping your opponent from gusting. So you have various ideas. We can switch between tons of Pokemon. Flannery to completely mess with their special energy. I personally would like to... Oh, no, we do see the Team Yell's Cheer Silene Powpad combo, which is very strong. Adventurous Discovery, a very powerful setup card in decks like this. And then just a variety of supporters. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played this list, but it looks really fun. It looks actually surprisingly similar to lots of other control lists with very basic ideas here, but it's a very powerful stalling deck as well. So it's pretty cool. And next up, we have probably the sauciest list here. I might play this on my channel at some point. I'm not sure, but it is Claydol Stonejourner. It's actually a deck that just straight out of a set. With the idea that you play 0 supporters. This actually plays 1 Grant, but the idea that you can play 0 supporters and then you can use Mystery Charge and Mystery Press to do massive damage, accelerate tons of energy. We see the attackers here being, of course, the Stonejourner, hitting a massive 190 for only 3 and a relatively easy acceleration. And then also Terrakion with its ability to be immune next turn. Great Tusky X, hitting massive damage and having massive HP, or relatively large HP. It does damage itself, which is a major downside. And we also see Ditto, its ability to copy Stonejourner and Terrakion, making the Terrakion a bit more viable. We also see Gutsy Pickaxe having some mild synergies here. And very importantly, we see that the Grant allows you to hit more damage, and you can recover it with its effect ability. I don't know. Grant has an effect that says you can recover it to your hand and then discard cards from your hand. It's very powerful, very cool effect. That honestly doesn't see much play, but it's really cool. And now we actually have 2 Arceus lists to look at, the final lists. Both of these I think are pretty cool. This one here is really, it's like a Arceus with the Curly Glade engine. And I really like the idea. It actually has a moderately toolboxy style of deck. We see Radiant Charizard, Grandmoltres V, Glen Zapdos V, just as very solid tempo-based attackers, I guess you could say. And Manaphy and Dennis Price is like defensive options, and Sharon's Care, a path, Vigo Energy. So you have these various defensive options. I would actually kind of like Psychic Energy to use Memory Skip, but that's fine. And to attack with Glade as well. But honestly, the next is super versatile, and I think this is a cool way to play Arceus. It's not actually the best way, I'd say, but it's solid. And you see this like wide variety of supporters as well as a pal pad, allowing you to just do attack with like whatever you want and use whatever support you want. And you have this nice versatility. I'd actually like another Raihan here as well, though. I think that would be nice. And lastly, we have this really cool Arceus deck. That's almost all. Well, in terms of Pokemon, you've played so many one lines. We see the 1/1 Drowdon, 1/1 Whimsicott, which are directly counter lines, right? And so is Espeon. Sandaconda is not necessarily a counter, but it can hit solid damage. Can also spread. It's a very solid line all in all. But Whimsicott counters special energy. The Drowdon also counters special energy. So we actually see them countering similar things, but they do slightly different effects as well. And Espeon here countering like effect-based Pokemon, notably stuff like Sableye Spread, although that's not even that good. But this is obviously a pure Pokemon V deck as well, which is kind of interesting. And you can be Miltank with Duraludon. I'd actually probably like a Peonia here, but it's some crazy stuff going on. We see the Sun and Moon badge, meaning I think, what is that even? Oh, you can't be Gusted? It's pretty funny. Vitality Band, yeah, apparently this person thinks this, and this deck did well, I believe. I'm not actually sure, but I believe they all did well. Because Limitless, like, the tournament results are getting really wonky. I'm not sure. They're having issues, I guess, with their servers. I don't know. But anyways, we also see, like, Acuity to increase defensiveness. So Pokemon like Sandaconda V is very defensive. And then we also see there's, like, pretty interesting stuff. We see High Counselor Arvin search out all the various tools. And Close Experiment as well, with the idea that you can loss on some of the stuff, making it very hard to play, actually. Because if you lost on the wrong cards, of course, it can be very problematic. But then it's not too bad. Like, if you just kind of know what you want to do before the game starts, you're fine. But, yeah, this is, like, the last list. It's cool. I just really enjoy the list right now. There's some really fun things. Honestly, like, I got to mess around with Spite Ops. The Tarantula with, is it, like, round? I don't know. But, the idea of that with, I think it's Spirit Mask. It's not Spirit Mask. Panic Mask. I think it's really interesting. I like the idea of Spite Ops and Control. It's a bit different, but it's cool. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me if there are other decks you want to see me talk about. Obviously, I'm just covering them real quickly here. If any of these you want to see me play, or you think I missed something, just leave it down in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be messing around with some of these. Some on video, some probably not on video. Depends how things go. But hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'm excited to see you in this video. See ya.